This is our third video on case law research, and in this video we're going to talk about some free sources. Before we do a few sample searches on Google Scholar and on the free side of the Social Law Library website, the two sources we're going to look at today, I did want to point out this helpful resource. This is Exhibit 4C in the Handbook of Legal Research in Massachusetts, which was part of your reading. And so this exhibit gives a list of publishers that have databases that contain decisions of the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court. There are other similar exhibits for the other Massachusetts courts. I just wanted to show you this one example. This gives helpful information such as dates of coverage and how you might search the database. And the reason I'm going to show this to you is we're not going to be able to cover all the different sources for Massachusetts case law. So this would be one way to find additional sources. So you can access the Handbook of Legal Research on a number of different research platforms, but they don't all include these exhibits, and even when they do, they don't always render in a way that is very legible. You can see here when I'm on the MCLE Online Pass, which is what we're on here, it's rendered in a nice table, and I can also download it if I choose to. Okay, so the first free database we're going to look at is Google Scholar. Let me just go back to the main page of Google Scholar to get us started. Okay, so when we're here, the first thing I want to point out is down in the lower right. It's almost hidden, but there's an About Google Scholar link, and when you get to that, that gives you some more information about helpful tips on searching Google Scholar, what's included in Google Scholar, and some other information about this database. So the one I want you to look at is search, and in here there's a great overview with search tips, and then under searching there's even more help, including a question on how do you search for court opinions that could be helpful. The other link I want to point out to you is the coverage link. So whenever you're on a database you're not familiar with, you're going to want to make sure you understand what's included in that database. For example, the Google Scholar database only includes SJ for Massachusetts, the SJC opinions and the opinions of the appeals court. It doesn't include any trial court opinions. So if you were looking for trial court opinions, obviously this database for Massachusetts case law research wouldn't be that helpful, right? Okay. So that's just a little bit of background information about Google Scholar. Let's go to the search engine and run a quick search just so you can get a sense of how this works if you haven't used it before. So once I'm in Google Scholar, I want to pick case law, of course. I can select different courts here, but I know that I want Massachusetts because that's what I'm looking for. And I already created a very simple search. You can see it here. It's medicine, practice, midwife. And even though it's a pretty simple search, I'm getting our Lee case, which we looked at on Lexis and Westlaw. It's pushed right to the top. And I'm getting some additional cases that I might want to look at. So there's some good search functionality over here on the left where you can change databases, you can limit by time, you could sort by date, for example. Let's take a quick look at this case on Google Scholar that we've looked at before on Lexis and Westlaw. You might notice some differences. We are getting the good citation information here, and we're obviously getting the text of the opinion itself. We do get some links to some of the cases that are mentioned within our Lee case, so all of that is great. But what you might see if you look closely is there are none of the editorial features that we get on Lexis or Westlaw. For example, there's no synopsis, there's no head notes at the beginning of the case. And that makes sense, right? Because this is a free source. It's a great free source, but we don't get those extra editorial features that we pay for on Lexis or Westlaw. We do get a very simple citator. So up here where it says how cited, you can use that to see how this Lee decision has been cited by other opinions that are available on Google Scholar. Okay? So this is a great source for free case law research for the Massachusetts SJC and the Massachusetts Appellate Court. All right, let's look at our next source. So our next source is the Social Law Library website. We're going to look at this, the free source, and we're also going to look later on at a subscription version. So right now we're at the Social Law Library and we're just at the free version that anybody can get to. And I want to show you they do have a small collection of opinions here under services, and then you're going to want to pick slip opinions right here. And what they have here, when you take a quick look, is they have the slip opinions from this current year, a little bit farther back, for the appeals court, the SJC, and also the Superior Court, which is one of the trial courts in Massachusetts. So this database would be good for finding newer release slip opinions and also for some recent opinions from the Superior Court. We're going to be talking about some subscription resources in the next video, including the paid databases offered by the Social Law Library, which offers a much broader coverage of Massachusetts cases.